King of the Road. Thanks again for watching the King of the Road show. I'm Jim King. Welcome to the musical segments of this week's episode. And since we're mentioning concerts, the 23rd annual Gulf Coast Music Hall of Fame show, formerly the Janis Joplin Birthday Bash, will take place at the Port Arthur Civic Center on Saturday, January 23rd. Marcia Ball will be the featured entertainer with special guest Susan Pierce. She's a Janis Joplin impersonator. Jivin' Jean, Ken Marvel Band, Still Cruisin', and Ultra Suede. Ball and Cajun music producer Floyd Swallow will be inducted into the Gulf Coast Music Hall of Fame that night. And tickets to the Gulf Coast Music Hall of Fame show are on sale now at A&S Music, Swicegood Music, the Port Arthur Civic Center box office, and the Penny Record in Bridge City and Orange. Now for the next segment. In 1968, Gary P. Nunn was a pharmacy major at the University of Texas at Austin, my alma mater. Hook 'em horns. Anyway, by the 1970s, Nunn was backing Jerry Jeff Walker and the Lost Gonzo Band, which parted ways with Walker in the late 70s. Nunn later moved on to a solo career. Oh, and by the way, the Austin City Limits program made the singer-songwriter's London Homesick Blues its theme for several decades, and the refrain, "Home from the Armadillo," referred to the famous Armadillo World headquarters. In 2004, Nunn was inducted into the Texas Music Hall of Fame. Join me as we look in the rear view at Winnie's 2009 Texas Rice Festival with Gary P. Nunn.
My quarter found an old friend on the jukebox. In no time at all, Ray Price had filled the floor. I danced my chair around the table, and I never missed a step till I looked up and you walked through the door. Our love was just a two-step away. My heart fell at your feet, my crazy arms began to play. Some fall in love to waltzes, but I thank God for rain, 'cause our love was just a two-step away. That's easy enough. Sing along with it.
Yeah, so that's how I got my King of the Road thing started.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, so I
get
call
it.
myself Jim King of the Road, but this is Gary P. Nunn, the legend, the Texas legend, and it's great to finally meet you. I've been hearing about you for years, and I used to, I'd go see, when I was in college at UT, I'd see you and Jerry Jeff tearing it up all the time on the stages there in Austin, and in the late 70s and early 80s, and yet here it is 30 years later almost, and, and you're still...
Just a blink of an eye.
Yeah, but we're still here and kicking,
We are.
Especially
we
you.
are in this Texas music thing, I guess we were there when it started.
Yeah,
and,
you're kind of one of the founding members, you and Jerry Jeff and the Outlaw Movement.
The Gonzo Band and Michael Murphy, and even had a chance. I played with those guys, and I had a chance to play with Willie for a short period of time before he broke out.
Yeah.
And so I got to play with him the first night at the Armadillo World headquarters.
And that's a great
He
place.
hired me to play bass. It's me and him and Paul. The guy from Chet Flippo from Rolling Stone was a stringer for Rolling Stone, and he was there that night, I recall. And after we had this big sellout show with Michael Murphy and Jerry and Willie, he looked at me and he said, "Gary P, you think country music gonna work at the Armadillo?" I said, "Well, proof's in the pudding, partner. I mean, it's already worked."
Sing with me now. Our love was just a two-step away. My heart fell at your feet. My heart fell at your feet. The crazy arms began to play. Some fall in love to waltzes, but I thank God for rain, 'cause our love was just a two-step away. Yes, love was just a two-step away. stays at home too much. Says she feels so out of touch. No, she ain't afraid to take a chance. You see, the girl just loves to dance.
Right.
We all know that the media is the media taking notice of you is the definition of making the big time, so
Sure.
it directs all the attention on you. And
Well, I don't know if it's big time, but it's Beaumont TV, and you're on it. It's Gary P. Nunn. He's a Texas Music Hall of Famer, originally from Brownfield. Well, actually from Oklahoma, but went to high school in Brownfield. I heard you were quite an athlete. And
yeah, I
and
played
even
ball.
scholar and
I was a
everything.
little jock. I played
Yeah.
all 4 sports a year, and I just love that stuff. Being active and participating in team sports, and it was just right up my alley. So,
When did the music start for you?
well, very early actually. Even when I was a small child in Oklahoma, my dad and mom were school teachers in these tiny little country schools.
Yeah.
And they didn't have church in the school, so I remember like first grade. Me and a friend of mine, we got up in front of the church and sang, and then later on, after I moved to Brownfield, a friend of mine got a Fender guitar. And I didn't even know him, but I spent the next 4 or 5 years at his house. We had a little band, played all during high school. We'd play football game, then I'd go play a gig for the kids after. So it's been something that I've enjoyed doing for many years, and I always figured that maybe someday that it'd all be over with. But I always had another gig I could do, so as long as there's one gig on the calendar, I guess I'm going to show up.
Yeah. Hey, Austin City Limits, do they still do London's Homesick Blues?
No, they changed their format over
okay.
there, and they started more of a kind of I don't know what you call kind of music
But
they
for
play.
about 20 years,
That's
your
old.
music-
It's 30 years actually.
30 years, they
Yeah.
had your music in the theme of it.
Right.
Yeah.
But for me, that instantaneous response is what you're looking for.
Sure.
And so if you get that, you probably got a pretty good song.
Yeah, that must be the thrill of doing what you do, is getting that instant response from the crowd. I mean, other people that do other things in the entertainment business don't get that. Maybe they have a TV show or
Right.
or radio.
Right.
They'll get it when they go out to the grocery store and somebody hears their voice or sees their face, and then they
Yeah.
go, "Oh yeah, that's what I do for a living." But you get that night every night.
Well, most times we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, keep on doing it.
I don't plan on quitting anytime soon.
Gary P. Nunn, it's a pleasure to meet you.
King of the road.
1, 2, 3, go! Well, lately I've been feeling kind of low. I'm thinking, are there some place that I could go?
Jim, King of the Road.
It's the King of the Road show, and you're watching King of the Road's best clips.
Everywhere I look, I see concrete. I could use a little southern rain, just not tonight.
Coming up next, Charlie Robison.
Winnie, Texas calls my name.